Hello, so we are starting the last part of Unit 6, Historical Counting Systems. We're going to be starting our section where we're going to be changing from base 10 to base 2 or 4, 5, whatever the new base is, and then back again. So I wanted to start out with just kind of like talking about base systems in general. So, and you'll have to forgive me having to turn my paper like this. But anyway, so if you want to have this information, which would be very helpful, I would just get a sheet of paper. This will be supplemental material for set D. Okay, so set D, I am going to be giving you one of these. This is kind of like all of our stuff that we're doing for that. So I'll be giving you this the next class period that I see you. And in the meantime, everything can just be put on paper. Okay, so base 10, which is what we use, what we are used to, we have digits 0 through 9, and then when you get to 9, you have a 10. And then you have a 1 0, and then you have a 1 1, and so on. So that's our base 10 system. And a lot of times this is referred to as decimal notation. I think sometimes you even might see standard notation. But when you have numbers in base 10, remember our place value. So I want to talk about our place value. So in our system, we have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and 10,000s, and so on. Okay, so we could keep going, but the numbers get really big. And our place value increases as we go to the left, right? So you're used to that. And when you're working with numbers, like we've been changing some of the Babylonian and the Mayan numbers, etc. We were changing them and we used their place value. This place value right here, this is 10 to the 0 power, okay? This one here would be 10 to the first power. This would be 10 squared. This one here would be 10 cubed. And this one here would be 10 to the fourth. So you can see that as we move through our system, okay, every time we go in that direction, we're going to be multiplying by 10. And that's what we would do to work through our system, all right? So this is 10, or this is a 1, this is 10, this is 100, 1,000, and 10,000. Now, just as a side note, if you're wanting to go backwards, okay, just so you know, you would be dividing by 10 each time, okay? So that's base 10, and this is what we're used to. And a lot of times we call this decimal. So like a decimal notation. And remember that deci means 10, so like kind of like decade. And I think I might have said that before. So let's talk about another number system that is very important to us. So base 2. Now, base 2 is often called the binary system. Okay, and the reason for that is because you only have 2 digits. That's it. Okay, so base 10, you have 10 digits. You have 0 through 9. Those are the 10 digits. And then you start over with, you put a 1 in front of that 0. And then you keep going, and then you would put a 2 in front of that 0 and keep going. Well, in base 2, you only have 2 digits, or 2 numbers. You have ones and you have zeros. And then past that, you know, if you went past that, you would have 1, 0, and so on. And something that I just thought of, so let me see if I have it with me. I don't have it with me exactly, but I have a large chart of all of the number systems kind of together and how they look comparative to each other. So I'll be giving you that as well. All right, so base 2 is our binary system. So again, let's think about that. Let's just put 3 or 6. Let's do 6 place values. Okay, so we're going to have 2 to the 0 power, 2 to the first power, 2 squared, 2 cubed, 2 the fourth power, and 2 to the fifth power. Okay, so if you're going to build a table when you're doing your conversions, 2 to the 0 power is 1. 2 to the first power is 2. 2 squared is 4. 2 cubed is 8, 2 to the fourth power is 16, and 2 to the fifth power is 32. Okay, so that would be what we're using for our base 2. Okay, we're going to do another one. Let's talk about base 4. Now, base 4 is often called the quaternary system, and in this system you'll have 4 numbers. So you're going to have 0 and 1 and 2 and 3. Those are the only 4 numbers in the system. 4 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Binary, 2 numbers, 1, 2. Base 10, you have 10 numbers, okay? And then past that, you would have 1, 0. Now 1, 0 is not 10, like we know 10 to be. This is 10, but these are not the same value of 10. It's just it's more like a notation. You have 0, okay, 0, 2 to the 0 power, and you have 1, 2 to the first power, kind of like that. We'll get more into that. So let's do 6 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm just going to start out with 4 to the 0 power, 4 to the first, 4 squared, 4 cubed, 4 to the fifth, and did I get all of them? 0, 1, 3, oh, this is B4. 4 to the fourth and 4 to the fifth. All right, well, 4 to the 0 power is 1. 4 to the first is 4. 4 squared is 16. 4 cubed is 64. 4 to the fourth is 256. And 4 to the fifth power is 1024. Okay, now the cool thing about us doing this right up front is that we'll kind of already have these tables ready when we need to use them. All right, and we'll do another one. So this is base 5 and 5 digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 digits, or 5 numbers, sorry. And then you would start over with a 1 in front of the 0. And I want you to notice, again, binary only has 2 numbers. Okay, base 4 only has 4 numbers. Base 5 has 5 numbers. And another thing you should notice, if you haven't already, base 2 doesn't have a 2 in it. Base 4, there's no 4. Base 5, there's no 5. Because 0 is our first number of the system. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again, same thing that we've been doing. Okay, So the 5s get pretty big. So this would be a 1, a 5, a 25, a 125, and a 625. Okay, then we have base 6. And yes, you guessed it, there will not be a 6 in that system, and it will have only 6 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you would start over again. Okay, and base 5, I meant to put a name for that. This is often called quinary. Okay, so we could do some base 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Putting my little place values down below, and then the numbers above: 1 and 6, 36, 216, 2401, so 2401, and 16807. That's a big number. Okay. Base 8, and that's the last one we'll do here. Base 8, and yes, there's only going to be 8 numbers, and no, there will not be an 8. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and if you are a parent, you know 6, 7. So there's 8 numbers here. There's no 8 in the system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'd have 8 to the 0, 8 to the first, 8 squared, 8 to the third, 8 to the fourth, and 8 to the fifth. That would be 1, 8, 64, 512, 4096, and this one's big, 32,768. All right, so this just gives you a taste of the bases, what digit or what numbers they have in their system. Okay, so right here you have 10 numbers. All right, you have 2 numbers, 4 numbers, 5 numbers, 6 numbers, 7 numbers before you start over with the 1, 0. And basically, just so you know, this right here would be 8 to the 0 power, and this would be 8 to the first power. And we'll explain more about that, but I just wanted you to know that this is based on place value. Here in our system, 0, that is 10 to the 0. This is the ones place. I have 0 ones. And then I have 1, 10 to the first power. That's the tens place. And that's why we know it is 10. Okay. There are some other things. There is a hexadecimal, so that's going to have numbers and letters. Then there's things like, there is something like base 12, and I'm not going to make a big list, but base 12 is a duodecimal system. Okay, so what's going to happen in things like base 12, 13, and so like all of these teens, what happens is you have your numbers, so you're going to have 0 through 9, kind of like base 10. And then there's no 10. There's no 1, 0. There would be a T. And then after that would be an E. Okay, sometimes it might be listed as A or B. Okay, these are the 10s and these are the 11s. So we'll get more into that. And I don't do a lot of those because those definitely are more complex. But I just wanted to give you kind of a base pun intended. I wanted to give you a base for number systems because we're going to be going back and forth between base 10 and all of these others. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video. Then I will do a second video for the beginning of the set D notes, and I will see you later.